안녕하세요. 안재현입니다. Welcome back to Let's Speak Korean. Christine, Scott, 안녕하세요.
안녕하세요. 크리스틴입니다.
안녕하세요. Scott입니다.
How do you guys make ends meet in Korea?
Usually these days through my radio show, and I do some recordings too.
And you do this program?
Yeah, and this program.
Right.
Yeah, I teach English to students and also my TV working.
Right? Arirang TV.
Yes, right. Arirang TV.
And now you can say those things in Korean. Christine, 누구한테 영어를 가르칩니까?
한국 학생들에게 영어를 가르칩니다.
학생, one thing, right? 학생. And Scott's learning Korean with this program, so 누구한테서 한국어를 배웁니까?
I learned it from you. 안정현 씨한테서 한국어를 배웁니다.
Good. By the way, I'm sure you guys have a lot of fun stories to tell about teaching English to Korean students.
Yeah, there's a few.
Yeah, I guess my students and I have laughed a lot whenever I'm trying to teach them to pronounce certain words, like river is a tricky one, and three is another
What
really
do they end
tricky
up saying for river?
Well, for river, they say liba, liba, and for three, sri.
Sri.
So it's difficult. So if they want to say han liba to me, I'm like, what's han liba? I don't know.
Han River.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, some of my students, same thing. The pronunciation stuff's the stuff I always remember. It seems the funniest. There's the S and SH pronunciation is a little bit difficult. So in attempting to say please sit down, I don't know how many times I've been told to please shit down.
Oh, no.
Sounds pretty funny, but not
Dear,
quite
dear.
what they want, I think.
Well, let's talk more about Korean students a little later, okay? For now, take a look at the next scene, and when we come back, we'll start today's lesson.
Hi, I'm Sue Richardson. This is the park that I come out to every morning to exercise. Usually there are a lot of people out here with me, but today it's pretty empty. I think they all slept in. Wow, that girl over there is still exercising. She was exercising since I first got here, and she hasn't even rested once. Hi.
Hi.
You sure exercise a lot. 날마다 몇 시간씩 운동합니까?
날마다 몇 시간씩 운동합니까?
1시간쯤 운동합니다.
1시간쯤 운동합니다.
Hi.
Hi.
You look really tired. You must exercise a lot. 날마다 몇 시간씩 운동합니까?
날마다 몇 시간씩 운동합니까?
오늘 처음입니다.
오늘 처음입니다.
Wow. Everything is always difficult in the beginning. That's why, just like her, you have to exercise every day, and then it'll be a lot easier and you'll feel really good. Well, I'm going to start with my jogging, so I'll see you next time, okay? Bye!
Now, we all know that exercising is good for both our bodies and minds. Do you guys like to exercise?
Yeah, sure. Whenever I can dig up the time, I like to try and give it a little whack.
Yeah, I try to exercise about 3 or 4 times a week.
What kind of exercises do you do in Korea?
Well, I like to lift weights, and then if I have time, I'll do some hapkido or something.
Is that some sort of martial art
Yeah,
thing?
kind of a Korean traditional martial art.
I like to get in my cardio. And
Cardio.
I started weightlifting too a few months ago. So.
Step machines and things
Bulking
like
up?
that?
Yeah, I want to get huge.
Well, I like going out for walks for a long time.
That's what
And I
I
used to
think.
walk a lot, but these days I just don't find the time to. Oops.
Oh, too bad.
Anyway, let's get started with today's lesson. Scott, where did you hear the sound?
Every day. 날마다 몇 시간씩 운동합니까?
And the answer, Christine?
Was 한 시간쯤 운동합니다.
Yes. Let's start with the question. 날마다 몇 시간씩 운동합니까? Now, we already know that 날마다 means every day. The word to concentrate today is 씩, and it means each or a piece. So the entire sentence could be translated as how many hours per day do you exercise, right? Okay, so repeat. 날마다 몇 시간씩 운동합니까?
날마다 몇 시간씩 운동합니까?
날마다 시간씩.
몇 시간씩.
Oh, right. 날마다 몇 시간씩 운동합니까?
Just one thing to remember is that the word 씩 is only used to tell exact duration. Okay, remember that, and let's try another example. For example, how many hours a day do you watch TV? Every day, 날마다 watch TV, TV를 몇 시간씩 봅니까? Repeat that.
Okay. 날마다 TV를 몇 시간씩 봅니까?
Okay. 날마다 TV를 시간
몇 시간씩.
몇 시간씩 봅니까?
Scott, answer me in Korean. 날마다 TV를 몇 시간씩 봅니까?
I wish I could answer, but actually I don't watch TV that much these days.
Oh.
No time.
No time, busy.
Yeah, too busy.
Then Christine, 날마다 TV를 몇 시간씩 봅니까?
Actually, I only used to watch AFKN because now
That was the only channel that you could understand, right?
yeah, it's the only English channel. So, but now since I can understand some Korean, I like to watch some Korean shows.
Good. Now let's practice. How about a conversation using today's key expressions?
Okay. Christine. 날마다 한국어를 몇 시간씩 공부합니까?
한 시간씩 공부합니다.
1 hour.
Do you really study for an hour every day, Christine?
Well, I try.
Oh,
Yes.
good. Okay. Now let's listen to native speakers for more practice with the word 씩.
날마다 몇 시간씩 운동합니까?
날마다 몇 시간씩 운동합니까?
날마다 TV를 몇 시간씩 봅니까?
날마다 TV를 몇 시간씩 봅니까?
날마다 한국어를 몇 시간씩 공부합니까?
날마다 한국어를 몇 시간씩 공부합니까?
Now let's see how we can tell approximate duration. The word to use here is 쯤. The word 쯤 means about or approximately. Now when Sue asked the question, how many hours a day do you exercise? The answer was 1시간쯤 운동합니다. I exercise for about an hour. Now repeat that. 1시간쯤 운동합니다.
1시간쯤 운동합니다.
Christine?
한 시간쯤 운동합니다.
Okay, now how about you guys repeat the conversation that you just had using the word 쯤, approximately an hour.
Okay. 날마다 몇 시간씩 한국어를 공부합니까?
한 시간쯤 공부합니다.
Good. You study Korean for about an hour, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. Now let's take a look at focus in for more practice.
날마다 몇 시간씩 잡니까?
10시간쯤 잡니다. 날마다 몇 시간씩 잡니까?
4시간쯤 잡니다.
I think the more you sleep, the more you have to sleep. People who sleep 10 hours a day have to sleep 10 hours a day, whereas people who only sleep 4 hours a day can survive perfectly fine with only 4 hours of sleep. Strange, isn't it? Anyway, as I promised earlier, now we're going to talk about Scott and Christine's students. Christine, answer my question in Korean. 날마다 영어를 몇 시간씩 가르칩니까?
6시간씩 가르칩니다.
6 hours a day. Wow. And you were right to use the word 씩 because class times are set, so you talk about exact duration, right?
Right.
Okay. By the way, what are some common mistakes that your students make in trying to speak English?
I think nowadays I'm really seeing that some of the Korean students take a direct English translation from Korean word by word. So for example, to answer the phone, which is, what's to answer the phone in Korean?
전화를 받다.
Yeah, 받다. Okay, they take that in English means to answer the phone, or to get
Receive.
the phone, right? But the students take the actual translation to it, so they would say, "Oh, receive the phone."
Right.
Right. Instead
Because
of,
받다 means receive, right?
right.
What about you, Scott?
Yeah, I've had students who will say, see the test, 시험을 보다, instead of take the test.
Right. I guess you would have to understand the culture to better understand the language, right? And the
Right.
same goes for all of you at home. If you want to really understand Korean, you have to understand the culture first.
Exactly. Plus, another thing is, a lot of times my students seem to know really big, difficult words, but they can't quite get the simple expressions down.
Right.
So, don't want to forget the simple stuff.
Right. You've heard Scott and Christine. Learning Korean is exactly the same. Use easy words instead of trying to think up words that really aren't on your vocabulary list. Okay, now it's time for Korea Live. Lisa is standing by. Let's see what she has for us today.
Hi, I'm Lisa. Are you ready for another Konglish word? Just a quick review before we start though. Not only Koreans, but all Asians call a white-collar worker a salaryman, remember? However, this term isn't used in a very positive sense, so it often means only a salaryman or someone who's just working for a salary. So be careful when you use this word. Also, we learned that the Korean working woman uses the term businesswoman to refer to themselves. It's a sexist term, but in Korea, it means a woman with a career. Well, enough of review. Let's get started with today's word. Video, please.
Ooh, I don't know what that word is.
This is actually a German word.
Arbeit. I'm not too sure what that means.
Arbeit. Arbeit is like a student, and he work in the company during the summer hours for the company.
What is it?
Nothing.
No
It's a German word. Maybe that's why.
No, I
Okay,
don't know that.
Yes, that's my. I know that.
Okay, what is it?
Working.
Working, okay.
Yeah.
Have you heard that term being used in Korea before?
Did you get that? Because of world globalization, the Korean language has been greatly influenced by a lot of foreign languages, and some foreign words have become an important part of Korean language. When you speak to a Korean, you'll see that many words are not original Korean words, but are from another language. And today's word is a good example of that. Yes, the word Arbeit, don't quote me on the pronunciation there, is a German word. It means to work, but in Korea it has a very limited meaning. It means part-time job. But Koreans adopted this word from Japan. A lot of Konglish words are directly adopted from Janglish words, so that's why many of them are used with a different meaning than the original one. And the word Arbeit is one of them. So in Korea, you'll hear students referring to their part-time job as Arbeit. All right, this is it for today. I'll see you next time with another word. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Lisa. Now let's review what we talked about today. We learned two small words today, 씩 and 쯤. 씩 to talk about exact duration and 쯤 to talk about approximate duration. Do you guys want to give us some examples?
Okay, Christine, how about 날마다 한국어를 몇 시간씩 공부합니까?
About an hour. 한 시간 좀 공부합니다.
Good.
Okay.
Now try to use these small words in conversations just like we talked about, and that's the best way to review what we learned today. Don't forget to practice at home, and we'll be back next time. 안녕히 계세요.
안녕히 계세요.